iti nami namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunnavadi Paschata Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunnavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada 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 Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaur Pramanande Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna. I'd like to welcome all the devotees on behalf of IBM.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisance. Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj ki jai.
Thank you, Mata. Please accept
Krishna,
my humble
Prabhuji.
obeisances, all of you. Vancha kalpa tarubhasya kripa sindhu vacha patitanam pavanebhyo. So we are going to start by invoking the prayers for mercy from Srila Prabhupada and from all the Guru Paramparas. So we can repeat the same thing we did yesterday, if you don't mind. We can offer some Puspanjali, Pushpa and your heart. I hope everybody knows that actually originally, if you ever wonder, like any big festival day, especially the appearance, why do we offer flower? Everybody comes to in front of Prabhupada's or the altar of a great personality and offer flowers. Why not incense? Why not lamp? Why not chamara? Why not other? Well, they do chamara sometimes. But why flower? Why flower is the most significant? Because the origin of flower in Golok Vrindavan is a manifestation of the feeling of the heart. That's why flower is very significant in our culture. Whenever Krishna thinks very deeply for Srimati Radharani, it takes a form of a flower immediately, blossom and later on Radharani plucked the flower, she feels that. It's interconnected. The flower is very significant. When you offer flowers, you're offering your heart. Hopefully, consciously, that will be the best because we are trying to purify our consciousness. So let's offer some flower, nice fragrant flower, nice looking flower, and your hand is washed, and we're going to go and pay obeisances to each of Guru Paramparas. So first of all, we're going to chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritam Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayat Nasta Prayesu Bhadreshu Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistaki Mukhaṁ Karati Vachalam Pangulangayati Girim Yatkipatamaham Bande Sri Guru Dinatarinam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Paramananda Madhavam. How we can offer our Puspanjali or flower offering at the feet of our individual Guru. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Genanjana Salakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Jenam Asmai Sri Guruve Namah Sri Chaitanya Mano Vistam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jutapada Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajata Sagana Raghunathanvitam tam sajivam Adaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Gaurani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatati Shatarine Vancha kalpa tarubhescha kripa sindhuvaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo
Namo Namah.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhattavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Rama
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama
Rama Hare Hare.
Thank you, Hare Krishna, Prabhus and Mothers. I do appreciate your consistently persistent of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which emanated from the lotus lips of our divine, sweet Lord, Sri Krishna. And today we are going to finish chapter 9 and give you some hints of chapter 10. Tomorrow we'll start. By the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, I'm eternally indebted to Srila Prabhupada also, giving such a wonderful purport. I was reading this morning, some of the purport are so wonderful. This is something we need to apply in our life, like 9:30. Everybody, unless you are liberated, come from spiritual world, that's one thing. Everybody has a two types of life, conditional and constitutional. When you come to that purport, we can see it. So wonderful. It's all relevant to our life, present life, and how we can not get diverted, rather focus. Whatever is going to happen in our life, we will not be deviating from the spiritual path. We don't need to adjust material life. We need to keep the spiritual life focus. Then material life will adjust automatically. The focus has to be spiritual practice. So I'm going to refresh again the 1, 2, 3 of this chapter 9, the entitled the most confidential knowledge. Not only confidential, the most, guhyatamam. And this is the first verse. It depicts that point. Idam tu te guhyatamam, guhyatamam, not guhya, not guhyatara, guhyatamam. Plurality, not comparative. So superlative. So 1, 2, 3, we discuss about Kabbalah Bhakti by knowledge about Krishna. What that will do, that will lead us or guide us to go pure devotional service. Then 4 to 10, the second section we discussed one day, was Krishna's Achinta Shakti or Achinta relationship. Means you cannot, just like you cannot see the thread in the garland, but with intelligence you have to see the thread in the garland. Similarly, how to see Krishna in the material world with intelligence. So 4 to 10, Krishna's inconceivable relationship with the material world. 11 to 19, we discussed that 11, 12 was impersonalist mistake, Krishna's body to be material. 13, 14, Kevala Bhakta. 15, three types of worshipper, including impersonalist, everyone is included. Then 13, 14, advanced devotees. You all are, I would say. 15, three types of, and 16 to 19 was the universal worship, universal form. And yesterday we discussed, somebody's coughing. Everybody please mute your side so it doesn't distract. Thank you. So yesterday we discussed 20 to 28 was Kevala Bhakti is far superior to demigod worship. Today we are going to discuss that how last section of 9th chapter Krishna talks about his glory, how he is the controller of the material world. Then he moves on focusing on pure bhakti. Then he talks about different people, how they understand him differently, what are the consequences of different kinds of understanding. Then Krishna talked about primarily pure devotional service. That is what Krishna focuses today's 1, 2, 3, 29, 30, 30, 6 slokas. So today's slokas is about primarily pure devotional service. That is what Krishna focuses. So without delay, I would ask someone who did not read at all in this 9th chapter, if you can voluntarily show your hand and you start reading from 29 text, that will be appreciated. Whoever did not read at all in last few days. I mean, we have 38, I'm sure not everybody read.
So I'm not read this. Sanjeev here, Hare Krishna.
Okay, Sanjeev Prabhu, can you write? Sanjeev. And anyone else after that?
I can read, Prabhu.
Mehandi. Okay. Come this side, please. First is Sanjeev, then Mehandi. Anyone else? I need
Archana Dasi, Prabhuji.
Archana Dasi. 3, 29, 30, 31.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can read too. Saroja Nandini Devidasi.
3 more. Who is it?
Saroja Nandini Devidasi.
Saroja Nandini. I need 2 more.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Kirtida Kumari Devidasi.
Kirtida Kumar, Mother Kirtida Kumar. 1 more.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Vamana Devdas. I would like also.
Oh, Bamandev Prabhu. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me put the list. Okay, so we start from text 29 today. Sorry. Sanjeev Prabhu.
Samo aham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyo asti ne priyaha ye bhut bhajanti tu mam Bhaktya mai te teshu chapi aham. Translation: I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. One may question here that if Krishna is equal to everyone and no one is his special friend, then why does he take a special interest in the devotees who are always engaged in his transcendental service? But this is not discrimination, it is natural. Any man in this material world may be very charitably disposed, yet he has a special interest in his own children. The Lord claims that every living entity, in whatever form, is his son, and as such, he provides everyone with a generous supply of the necessities of life. He is just like a cloud which pours rain all over, regardless whether it falls on rock or land or water. But for his devotees, he gives special attention. Such devotees are mentioned here. They are always in Krishna consciousness and therefore they are always transcendently situated in Krishna. The very phrase Krishna consciousness suggests that those who are in such consciousness are living transcendentalists situated in Him. The Lord says here distinctly, "My te," in me. Naturally, as a result, the Lord is also in them. This is reciprocal. This is also explained the words Asti na priyaha ye bhajanti. Whoever surrenders unto me, proportionately I take care of him. The transcendental reciprocation exists because both the Lord and the devotee are conscious. When a diamond is set in a golden ring, it looks very nice. The gold is glorified, and at the same time, the diamond is glorified. The Lord and the living entity eternally glitter. And when a living entity becomes inclined to the service of the Supreme Lord, it looks like gold. The Lord is a diamond, and so this combination is very nice. The living entities in a pure state are called devotees. The Supreme Lord becomes the devotee of his devotees. If a reciprocal relationship is not present between the devotee and the Lord, then there is no personalist philosophy. In the impersonal philosophy, there is no reciprocation between the Supreme and the living entity. But in the personalist philosophy, there is. The example is often given that the Lord is like a desire tree, and whatever one wants from this desire tree, the Lord supplies. But here the explanation is more complete. The Lord is here stated to be partial to the devotees. This is the manifestation of the Lord's special mercy to the devotees. The Lord's reciprocation should not be considered to be under the law of karma. It belongs to the transcendental situation in which the Lord and his devotees function. Devotional service of the Lord is not an activity of this material world. It is part of the spiritual world where eternity, bliss, and knowledge predominate. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. This is one of the verse I really request all of you to memorize this also. It will bring you close to Krishna. Also, it will prevent you from committing or judging others. Let's break it the word to word meaning. Very nice. First, Krishna says, Samaham Sarvabhuteshu. I am equal to all living beings. So I want you to think like this too. Srila Prabhupada was asked, are you equal to all your disciples? Srila Prabhupada said, yes. And then after a few minutes, he says, he was on pause for a few minutes. And then he says, but it appears like some of my disciples really want to do a lot of service, want to please me. So I give more attention to them. Everybody understanding what Prabhupada says? It makes it clear, isn't it? It's not like Prabhupada does not like one disciple, he likes another disciple more. No. He likes all the disciples, but those who are showing interest to serve and please him more, he's reciprocating with them. If somebody only wants to come once a year to see Prabhupada, that is their choice. If they want to stay in the temple, early days, if you are in the temple, you are a devotee. If you live outside, you are not a devotee. I'm not saying that's true, but that was the, how would I say, commonology, like understood. And now in ISKCON we see 99% stays outside. Very rarely, at least in America, very rarely anybody in the temple. Because very rarely, very few brahmacharis. We have like Krishna House, Tallahassee. No, sorry, not Tallahassee. Denver, Colorado has a few brahmacharis. Very few, only few temples. Mostly all grihasthas, and that's wonderful because it's growing. It's growing, and they mostly lives outside. So next line it says, "No me deshasti no priya." No me deshasti no priya. I'm not jealous. See, desha here, Krishna himself says, I'm not jealous to anyone, nor anyone is specifically dear to me. It's the same thing what Prabhupada says. After describing this, Krishna tells next part. If you break down, he says, Je bhajanti tumam bhakta. Someone is still not muted, making little noise. Je bhajanti tumam bhakta. Those who worship me, what happens to them? Think like this. It helps. So Krishna says, I'm not jealous to anyone, nor I am anyone is specifically very dear to me. Then after describing this, then Krishna says, De bhajanti tumam bhakta. Those who worship me, what happens to them? That is the question. Then he says, Moi te teshu chapi aham. They are in me, I am in them. It is very endearing declaration of an intimate connection of the Lord. Moi te, they are in me. If you look at the Sanskrit one, te teshu chapi aham, and I am in them. You know, there are many verses. Even 9th canto Bhagavatam, it says, Sadhavo hridayam mahayam, sadhunam hridayam taham, mad annet na janati, naham tebba manangopi. I am in the heart of sadhus. Sadhus are in my heart. I don't know anything beside them, and they don't know anything beside me. That's not a jealousy or not giving opportunity. And a good example I can give you, one time it happened that I can relate to that. If you go on a long journey, walk on feet, and there is a little nice drinkable well and a fruit tree. And after walking 10 miles, you must be hungry, thirsty. The tree and the well are providing water and fruits for everybody. But some people say, no, we don't want to stop. We'll keep on going. But their group says, but we're thirsty. That's okay. Just, don't waste time. Let's keep on going. And some people say, no, we should just rest here in the shade, take some fruit, take some water and go. Now, let me ask you the question. Is the tree and the well deciding who is going to take advantage of their shelter, or it is the individual Jatri or passenger deciding?
It's personal choice, Prabhuji.
Very good. It's a personal choice. It is not up to God. It is not the God making distinction that I am favoring to Hare Krishna people. He is favoring to anybody who comes. Then why demons seems like Krishna is fighting on behalf of Indra, killing the demons? Because demigods take shelter of Krishna. Anybody can take shelter of Krishna, Krishna will be yours. But the demon don't want to come to God. It's not a fault of God. So here Krishna says, in the first two parts, he is saying that he is impartial in A and B, but after that he says, I am partial in the third line and fourth line. Je bhajanti tumam bhakta. Those who worship me, moyite teshu chapyaham. They are in me, I am in them. This is a very heavy, nice, wonderful way of Krishna's explanation. That means we are very intimately connected. So these sorts of descriptions seems contradictory at one level, but they are not contradictory. It depends on which level of manifestation Lord is talking about. Again, if you look at this, Soma Aham, Sarva Bhuteshu is referring to Lord as a judge. I hope everybody knows what judge, who judge is, what is the duty of judge. Judge is not a partial to plaintiff, either party. Judge is a judge neutral. Even his father is a criminal or in a plaintiff side, doesn't matter. Judge cannot be partial because that person is my father. So, Je bhajanti tumam bhakta, those who worship me, what happens to them? Krishna says, as a judge, I'm not partial. But here, the third line, fourth line, Krishna says, I am partial. So the last two lines, we see that this verse is referring Bhagavan aspect. The Bhagavan aspect is very intimate aspect. It is very elevated and exalted manifestation of the absolute truth. So Bhagavan aspect, what does he focus on? He focuses on principle of pure devotional service. Krishna is impartially partial. That is the good way to see it. Krishna is impartially partial. So how is it possible? Isn't that an oxymoron? Which means contradictory word brought together. So definitely partial towards his devotee. And Srila Prabhupada, which this Prabhu, Sanjeev Prabhu just read, Srila Prabhupada said a charitable person may be charitable to all people, but he is naturally more affected to his own children. This is not considered a fault. Similarly, it is not considered a fault that Lord Krishna loves his devotees who are like his own children in comparison to all other living beings, who are also existing in existence, you can say. So actually all are children, but some are his loving, obedient children, where others are defiant, even hateful children. So Lord offers his care to everyone, but the intimacy of relationship are not possible to everyone. So it is possible for those who try to reconnect with Krishna. So we conclude that Sri Krishna is impartially partial. What does that mean? He is impartial in terms of opening the doors for everyone to receive the benefit of his partiality. Krishna never said that demon will not get bhakti. He never said. He said anybody can approach me, but you need bhakti to approach him. Everybody understanding that point? So anybody has a right to receive the bhakti, to love him, to approach him. That is why this verse is a glimpse of the heart of the Lord, you can say. Srila Prabhupada's purport, the Lord and the living entity eternally glitter. This is a good example Prabhupada gave. When a living entity becomes inclined to the service of the Supreme Lord, he looks like gold. The Lord is diamond. So this combination is very nice. Srila Prabhupada said, without the principle of reciprocation, there is not personal philosophy possible. So basically, Krishna is reciprocal. Yesterday we also talked about it. Srila Prabhupada also quoted from Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad, the example is often given that the Lord is like a desire tree. Whatever one wants from this desire tree, the Lord supplies. So this example of the Lord as desire tree is given by Sridhar Swami, but Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad said that Lord is not only desire tree, which act as a desire fulfiller, but also a relationship builder. Lord is a person who cares for those who come to him. So the example he gave, if a person goes and asks a desire tree, the desire tree will fulfill the desire, but the desire tree will not become attached to the person. The desire will not strive to protect the person on one's own accord. This is a very nice key point. I hope everybody understanding that. The desire tree does not become enemy of that person's enemy, but the Lord does all this. So the Pandavas as a devotee become attached to the Lord, and Lord also become attached to them. So Lord creates circumstances by which we develop love for him. Now look at Srila Prabhupada's purport. Again he says, devotional service to the Lord is not an activity of this material world. It is part of the spiritual world, where eternity, bliss, and knowledge predominate. Beautiful. That means that this is a transcendental activity. This is a part of spiritual world. To the extent we situate ourselves in this activity, to that extent, who also become situated in the spiritual world. I'm going to give you a little funny story about desire tree, because Prabhupada mentioned a couple of times. And I'll ask you a question, see if you can, of course you can answer it. But there's a one time Srila Prabhupada gave a story of a desire tree. A woodcutter, or a common man, woodcutter means in India, there are many people who collects the wood from the forest and sell in the market. In America, we don't see it, but because nowadays everything is electric oven. In India, they still have in the village. So this man went in the forest. While he was in the forest, he sat down. It was very hot. And after a little while, he thought, I wish there was some food to eat. Then all of a sudden, the tree that he was sitting under, he did not know it was a desire tree. All of a sudden, some food just appeared in front of him. Just imagine, what would he do? And then he was like, wow, am I sitting under the desire tree? Maybe I should ask for something. I always wanted to have a party feeling, have a big party with my friends and others. Sure enough, within a moment, there was a party arranged in that forest. And this man enjoyed like anything. Then after a little while, he's sweating and he's tired a little bit. He's thinking, oh no, it's getting dark. I hope the tiger doesn't show up and eat me up. Sure enough, the tiger just came up and started eating him up. Can somebody tell me what did you get from that story? Prabhupada said that very nice story. If it was you, what did you learn?
If you desire something good for you, then like a bhakti, if you desire bhakti, you will get bhakti. But if you desire the material things or something bad, like you desire tiger, so tiger came and ate him. So if you desire material things, then you will get deep down in the material world actually. So we have to desire pure bhakti. So that's what we learn.
Pure bhakti, very good.
We don't
Very
have
nice.
a control on our mind.
Ah, that's a very good point too. Because mind will dictate you. There's unfulfilled desire. I want to explore sense enjoyment. Who knows? Mind can dictate you so many things. That is also a very good point. So be very careful, because
Good knowledge.
when he mentioned that story, he actually did mention that we also, when we approach Krishna, we are actually approaching desire tree. But be very specific and careful. What is ultimate benefit and what is temporary entanglement? Somebody wanted to say something?
Also poor knowledge, because he didn't have the true knowledge. He didn't know what to ask for.
Very good. So we are getting that pure knowledge from Bhagavad Gita. So we will not do that mistake just like that person did. Thank you. On this verse, I would say you can conclude that Krishna does not play favorites, but he has his favorites. Make sense? He does not play favorites, but he has his favorites. And we are not like falsely proud, but we are his favorite because we are trying to become pure devotee, lover of Krishna. So we are his favorite. But he's not that limited. Anybody cannot come. No, anybody can come. It's open. The bhakti is open for everyone. So to play favorite means to bestow special favor on those whom Krishna likes while overlooking others. To play favorites connotes a distasteful partiality. To have favorites means to have personal preference. And such preference, or such preferences, I would say, are natural expression of one's personality. Come on, we do this with our children, with our parents. If you reflect back in your own life, you do this. So why can't Krishna do it? He is also person, supreme person. Let's see. Let's have a few more minutes to discuss this. So we have a clear on this verse.
Prabhuji, can you say once more, to play favorite and to have favorite, the distinction? Once more.
No, I'm just saying that Krishna does not play favorites, but he has his favorites.
Yes, just now you said that to play favorite means what, and to have
to
favorite?
Have favorite means to have personal preference. I mean, in the playground, you have your children is playing with 10 of them, but you have your special drink. Some children loves ice cream. I'm looking at one of the students loves ice cream a lot. So like this, so mother has the one piece of ice cream. Now there are 10 children. She may just go to her own child and say, hey, take this little bit. It's too hot. Just eat this. And say, wow, she doesn't like the other children. No, she likes the other children, but she has her favorite. It's nothing. Is anybody going to say, why did you offer to your son, not others? No, nobody will say. I don't think so. I mean, I don't think so. Everybody will say, yeah, that's natural, because that's his mother, the child's mother. She has a one piece of candy or whatever ice cream, gave it to her own child. There's nothing wrong. So to have favorite means to have personal preference. But such preferences are natural expression of one's personality. See, in this verse, Krishna is, I feel, the stresses that Krishna does not play favorite. He is equal to everyone. Simultaneously, he is a person. And as a person with his own personality, he has his preferences and his favorites. However, his favorites signify not his favoritism, There is a big difference. But his reciprocity means Krishna's equality is not stone-like naturality. It is loving reciprocity. If a stone is petted or punched, it remains insentient, unresponsive, you can say. In contrast, Krishna reciprocates as a living, loving person. I'm sure each of us has that experience to grow up with parents and brothers, sisters. I come from a big brother-sister family, 12 brother-sister. Not all brother-sister like each, I mean, I don't want to say it, the name, but most of my sister loved me more than other brother. But that's my perception. Was it a jealousy or anything? I don't think so, but that's how it is there. It's a personal preference. Like I have two brothers, Hindus, and I have two sisters, they are ISKCON initiated devotee, and they have a favoritism. They really love me a lot, and I don't see anything wrong, but some relative things, yeah, they are a lot of favoring you and not equal to others. So that in reality, we see that it is there. So Krishna has many gopis, you can say, as his devotees. But Radharani is his favorite gopi. Why? Because Radharani has the greatest devotion for him. It is not artificial or Krishna's playing the game. No. Significantly, however, though Krishna has his favor, he does not deprive others for his favor. I mean, of his favor. That is available for all who choose to place him in their hearts. Krishna opens the door of devotion for everyone. I think one of the days I mentioned about one devotee, the senior editor of our BTG magazine. He and his brother came to Srila Prabhupada. I think I mentioned here, no? Or maybe not. Anyway, and both met Prabhupada, but one is still very senior, sincere devotee, and another one still didn't become devotee. They are a Marine officer when they joined in America to see Prabhupada. Now, that question was asked to Prabhupada. Why are you favorite to this disciple and not his brother? Prabhupada said, no, I was equal to both. But one accepted, one did not accept. So whose fault? Is Prabhupada's fault? No. It's our individual choice. One Prabhu said, I remember whoever it was. Yes, it's individual decision. So though Krishna has his favorites, he does not deprive others of his favor. We should remember. That is available for all who choose to place him in their hearts. Krishna opens the door of bhakti for everyone. And all who cultivate devotion relish a sublime joy proportionate to their devotion. He is like the cloud. Krishna is like the cloud that showers water impartially on the land. Bhagavatam, I give that example. What grows on the land depends on the land, not on the rains. We all agree, right? It is the land, each part of the land is responsible for what produce, not the rain. So those who are fully devoted relish full contentment by their full absorption in Krishna. By his inconceivable all attractiveness, Krishna provides eternal joy to all his devotees. Whatever be their specific relationship with him. Thus Krishna does not play. We conclude, Krishna does not play favorites because he does not, what's the word? discriminate. Make sense? Krishna does not play favorites because he does not discriminate. He just reciprocates. We must remember this literally all the time. Krishna always reciprocates. You don't want to reciprocate, Gautam Prabhu don't want to reciprocate with Krishna, Krishna won't reciprocate. But he wants to reciprocate, Krishna will be glad to reciprocate. So though Krishna has his favorites, his favor is available for everyone, such as his sweet presence. I remember we had a discussion, is Krishna partial or impartial? And you'll see in Bhagavatam, many places, especially there is a whole chapter, 7th canto, 1st chapter, the discussion between Yudhishthira Maharaj and Narad Muni. Because right in front of him, he saw Shishupal just got chopped by the Sudarshan Chakra, and his soul came out of the body, entered into Krishna's body. Well, in between it stayed for a while for everybody to see. So it bewildered Yudhishthira Maharaj, who is Mahabhagavat also. And that discussion took place. Whole chapter is only on that question. Is Krishna partial or impartial? So it is very important, this verse. Believe or not, believe me or not, 20 years from now, you will be asked that question by somebody. Is Krishna partial? How come Krishna doesn't reciprocate with me? I feel like no reciprocation. Well, are you trying to reciprocate? Well, I don't know how. Or then how Krishna is. You want to pretend? Krishna will pretend too. You know, Hanumanji asked Lord Ram, my Lord, I'm chanting your name. You are my object of worship. How come when I met you, I could not recognize? How is that possible? Lord Ram says, did you come as a Hanuman? Oh, no. How did you come? I was disguised. So you disguise as a Brahmana, I also disguise as somebody else. So is it my fault? Ram asked that question. I mean, he answered, Hanumanji, apologize. I'm sorry, Prabhu. It was my fault. Hanumanji didn't come as a monkey, Hanuman. He came in a disguise form. So you want to disguise form, go to temple, say, I am so and so. You identify your body or pride and something. Krishna also say, yeah, I'm marble for you, don't worry. If you say, my Lord, I am your lovely child, I got lost. Please help me to come back. Krishna will also show his mercy. Maybe some devotee will appear from somewhere and will give you some prasadam, will talk to you about Krishna. Krishna will reciprocate. It is depending on us, how we are eager or how we are planning our life to reciprocate with Krishna. So it is very important. I mean, in our day-to-day family life, I'm sure you all can relate to that. I'm not saying this is true, but I'm just giving an example. How do you feel? Can somebody tell me, how do you feel if your parents are partial towards your sibling? This I spoke in the university here because a lot of professors are from the Jewish background. And in Judaism, there's a famous story of Joseph, not Jesus' father. There's a Old Testament has a Joseph who was youngest sibling who was sold in the market to Islamite. Islamite means in early days, there was no, how would you say, there is no shopping center. The Islamite or the trader, they would go to different country to country and trade. You know, I have this, I trade this, and they come back to their own country. And that's how the whole world economy was running by those Islamites in Europe, Middle East. So one Islamite, he was passing by that village, and the brothers, they are envious with their younger brother. His name was Joseph. It's a famous story. Most of the Jewish people are aware of it. So I was using that story and they liked it. They really loved it. The angle Vaishnava sees on that story. Some of the professor was fascinated. It was like, wow, we never thought that. We know that story. Because that story is very relevant. I hope you didn't have that problem in your family growing up. But anyhow, they saw their parents love the youngest child so much. So they sold the younger brother to the Islamite. Those days you can sell the children. It's like a common thing. There was no law or anything. And then they made it up with his sets of clothes with the blood and everything. And they told the parents, look at what we found in the nearby jungle. Our brother went there, I don't know why, and we found this cloth with the blood. And the whole family cried. Of course, these three brothers, they're pretending crying because they are the one who sold them. It's very funny because I'm thinking how to squeeze the story into very short, 2 lines, 3 lines, a long story. At the end, the Pharaoh of Egypt, he used to rule the country by the dream. And the dream interpreter would tell what is that means, what dream he had. So he had one dream that 7 years there will be flourishing. The country will be flourishing like anything with grains, everything, minerals, everything. But after that, there will be 7 years drought. And people will like kill each other because no shortage of food and everything. So then the Pharaoh means the emperor, he was so disturbed, didn't know what to do. So he's getting all the interpreter explaining. He's not convinced. And that time, this Islamite who bought this boy, Joseph, he was asking him different question. Hey, how would you trade this? And he saw his intelligence is much sharper than his own intelligence. Then Islamite thought, I don't want to sell him to somebody. I want to keep him because he's so intelligent. But then there was some scandal. His wife put it, so they put him locked down in the dungeon. And then Pharaoh of Egypt made a announcement. Anybody can interpret the dream the Pharaoh had will be rewarded the best valuable gift. So the news spreaded well amongst the Islamite, and this Islamite, when he heard it, he thought, I'm going to take my boy, this Joseph. Let's see he interpret. So when he went there, he was in dungeon. You know, everybody knows what dungeon is. It's like a basement, dark basement. Those days, that's how they used to punish. So anyway, he found himself in front of Pharaoh of Egypt. And like his eyes were closed, you know, they blinded his eye and then opened it, Pharaoh of Egypt. And then they asked the question and he gave a very nice answer. He says, well, you can lead a normal life for 7 years. On all the extra opulences, you store it. And after storing, when the drought starts for 7 years, terrible problem, you can subsidize or maintain your livelihood from the storage, the grain, whatever, those days, I don't know what they used to store. And then he says, no, there will be some problem of the neighborhood country because neighbor country will have the same problem. You know, Palestinian, Armenia, all those countries nearby will have the same problem. They will attack you because you have the food and everything. Then Pharaoh says, what should I do? Then some minister said, then we should just plan to kill them. But Joseph says, no, don't. Act like a loving father. save enough grain that you can distribute them. They will accept you automatically. Their kingdom will be yours. They will accept you like a loving father instead of killing them. Why? The Pharaoh loved this. All his explanation was so much convincing. Pharaoh found himself like better than he could come up on his own. So he instantly made the Joseph as a prime minister. And then drought started, everything happened. And the neighbor country started attacking. And the Pharaoh started acting like a loving father. Then Joseph sent in the line of that country that he was sold from. He also went there as a prime minister now. Nobody knows him. And the brothers thinking he's sold to somewhere. So in the big queue, you know, like a food line, he saw three big guys, old guys. So he sent the soldier to bring them to the prime minister's quarter. So they got scared, like, oh my God, what will happen? We'll get punished. But then he told them, my dear brother, this is the essence why I'm telling you this story. Don't you remember me? And they're looking at the prime minister. This is your youngest brother, Joseph, that you sold to Islamite when I was a little boy, baby. And they're like looking at his face, they're so scared. Oh my God, he's a prime minister, he's going to now kill us or something. He said, I am indebted to you. If you did not sell, today I would not be where I am. They were like, what? Now you can stay in the palace with me. You are my elder brother. You guided my life because you sold it and I never opposed anything. I saw my life actually taking where I supposed to be. Now go and bring our parents. Now, of course, they are nervous how they're going to tell this, that actually they sold to Islamite. And they made a story, remember, that eaten by some animals. So the essence of that story is a beautiful story in the Old Testament, that if we can learn how to tolerate, what is the end of that devotional journey, you will be 100 million times thankful to yourself that why you tolerated. So this is very important, that we should not be jealous. We should be really, like this verse says, we should be equal to all others and do not judge, really tolerate. I'm not saying that tolerate the abuse, but tolerate. You will be surprised what comes out end of your journey in this life. Prabhupada tolerated unbelievable. Prabhupada's sister, Pishima, she tolerated unbelievable. When she came to Prabhupada that her husband was drunk and womanizer, doing horrible things, Prabhupada did not tell her, get divorced and just get out of it. Prabhupada told her, where is your Radha Govinda deity? This is story told to me by Bhavananda Prabhu, Bhavananda Maharaj. In early days, Prabhupada told them this story. In case somebody was wondering where this story from. And Bhavananda Maharaj is still alive. He was one of the main men in Mayapur. He's still doing wonderful service. So anyway, so then Prabhupada said, start worshipping the Radha Govinda deity. Your husband has a problem of drinking and all this, womanizer, all these things. Don't reject him. Feed him prasadam. Be nice to him. Krishna can change his heart. Well, she did. She tolerated for a few years, cook hard, every day cooking, nice prasadam, bhoga, offering to Krishna, fed him, took care of him, even though he didn't care for her. But eventually things turned around in such a way that he got sick. And he started reflecting. And he started saying things, appreciating to his wife, that what a nightmare I was to your life, but you are so merciful, so kind. I would be in hell if you did not care for me. Thank you so much. So we see that even in practical field. All of a sudden I remember, because I used to carry Pishima also when I joined in a chair from her room to Prabhupada's room. The point is that Krishna is impartially partial, that we must understand as it is explained in this verse. Otherwise, isn't God equal to all? Yes, God is equiposed. But why is partial to someone? Because they came to him and he reciprocates. Everybody understand that point? He reciprocates, not that he's partial. He's reciprocating to those who are coming to him. I'm looking at the time. We are going too slow. We are going to, now there are a few questions I made also, but if we have time, we'll come back. Otherwise, we'll go to the next verse. Mother Mehendi, please proceed to the next.
So can I ask a question over here? About the reciprocation, can I ask a question here, Prabhuji? Am I audible?
Is somebody saying something?
Prabhuji, this is Sanjeev here. Am I audible, Prabhuji? Can I ask a question?
Yes. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhu, we are talking about the reciprocation. I just wanted to ask a question on.
Okay.
Days of his Krishna consciousness, and then in between there is some mishap which happened and he became angry to the Lord. So I know in the beginning stages of his life, Krishna would have reciprocated with the way he would have done, but when he became angry because of that mishap, how would Krishna would have reciprocated with him?
Are you talking about someone? I missed the first part.
Prabhu, I'm telling there is a devotee who was in love with the Lord in the beginning stages of his Krishna conscious days, and then eventually, and then some mishap happened, and he basically became angry to the Lord. So, how would Krishna reciprocate in the later stages of his days when he became angry on the Lord because of that mishap?
Oh, I see.
Would Krishna
I see.
become neutral? Would Krishna be neutral at that time?
Well, there are few facts. There are few facts to be discussed. Why not I come back to your question, because it may take like more than half an hour or so, maybe.
No problem, bro. No problem. Thank you.
But I'll come back before I finish that.
Thank you.
We're going to read the whole one by one quickly. Mother Mehendi, please.
Yes. Text 30. Api chetsu dhuracharo bhajate mam ananyabha sadur eva sa manatavya samyogya vyastito hi sa. Translation. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. Purport. The word sudurachara used in this verse is very significant, and he should understand it properly. When a living entity is conditioned, he has two kinds of activities. One is conditional and the other is constitutional. As for protecting the body or abiding...
Once again, can you read this again? I hope everybody, please pay attention that line, that we have two lives. Prabhupada is giving very clear. Please read it one more time, that line.
When a living entity is conditioned, he has two kinds of activities. One is conditional and the other is constitutional. As for protecting the body or abiding by the rules of society and state, certainly there are different activities, even for the devotees, in connection with the conditional life, and such activities are called conditional. Beside these, the living entity who is fully conscious of his spiritual nature and is engaged in Krishna consciousness or the devotional service of the Lord has activities which are called transcendental. Such activities are performed in his constitutional position, and they are technically called devotional service. Now, in the conditioned state, sometimes devotional service and the conditional service in relation to the body will parallel one another. But then again, sometimes these activities become opposed to one another. As far as possible, a devotee is very cautious so that he does not do anything that could disrupt his wholesome condition. He knows that perfection in his activities depends on his progressive realization of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes, however, it may be seen that a person in Krishna consciousness commits some act which may be taken as most abominable, socially or politically, but such a temporary fall down does not disqualify him. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated, if a person falls down but is wholeheartedly engaged in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, the Lord, being situated within his heart, purifies him and excuses him from that abomination. The material condition, the material contamination is so strong that even a yogi fully engaged in the service of the Lord sometimes becomes ensnared. But Krishna consciousness is so strong that such an occasional fall down is at once rectified. Therefore, the process of conditional service is also a success. No one should deride a devotee from some accidental fall down from the ideal path. For as explained in the next verse, such occasional fall downs will be stopped in due course as soon as the devotee is complete.
Very good.
Therefore, a person who is situated in Krishna consciousness and is engaged with determination in the process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, should be considered to be in the transcendental position, even if by chance or accident he is found to have fallen. The words Sadur Eva, he is saintly, are very emphatic. They are a warning to the non-devotees that because of an accidental fall down, a devotee should not be derided. He should still be considered saintly even if he has accidentally fallen down. And the word mantavya is still more emphatic. If one does not follow this rule and derides a devotee from his accidental fall down, then one is disobeying the order of the Supreme Lord. The only qualification of a devotee is to be unflinchingly and exclusively engaged in devotional service. In the Narsimha Purana, the following statement is given. Bhagavati chaharav ananya cheta brishamalino pi virajate manusya nahi shasha kalusa chabhi kadachit timira parabhavatam upaiti chadra. The meaning is that even if one fully engaged in the devotional service.
What is going on?
I'm sorry, Prabhu, someone's waiting outside the house. Can I just open the door?
Why don't you, you did a wonderful thing. Let somebody read, it's okay, yes, sure.
I'm really sorry.
No, that's fine, that's fine. Next person, Archana, Mother Archana Devi Dasi, please continue reading from that verse. Narsingha Purana.
Yes, Prabhuji. In the Narsingha Purana, the following statement is given. Bhagavati Chaharaf Ananya Cheta, Brusa Malino Pi Virajate Manusya, Nahi Sasa Kalusha Chavi Karachit, Timira Parabhavatam Upaiti Chandraha. The meaning is that even if one fully engaged in the devotional service of the Lord is sometimes found engaged in abominable activities, these activities should be considered to be like the spots that resemble the mark of a rabbit on the moon. Such spots do not become an impediment to the diffusion of moonlight. Similarly, the accidental fall down of a devotee from the path of saintly character does not make him abominable. On the other hand, one should not misunderstand that a devotee in transcendental devotional service can act in all kinds of abominable ways. This verse only refers to an accident due to the strong power of material connection. Devotional service is more or less a declaration of war against the illusory energy. As long as one is not strong enough to fight the illusory energy, there may be accidental fall downs. But when one is strong enough, he is no longer subjected to such fall downs, as previously explained. No one should take advantage of this verse and commit nonsense and think that he is still a devotee. If he does not improve in his character by devotional service, then it is not to be understood that he is not a high devotee. Hare Krishna.
Very nice. Krishna, this verse is so important. Next verse is also important because this verse is like a little depressing, maybe some experience. I'm sure I did myself probably many abominable things in life, some intentionally, some unintentionally, but some or other we are still going in the spiritual path and with conviction. That means some determination was there. Next verse is going to affirm that. What we understand here in a short, also this Prabhu, Sanji Prabhu asked that question, is related to this few verses. So we're going to read one more verse and then come back to address those because that verse gives the solution. Next one is Mother Saroja Nandini.
Hare Krishna. Verse 31. Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvachantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktah pranashyati. Translation: he quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Purport: this should not be misunderstood. In the 7th chapter, the Lord says that one who is engaged in mischievous activities cannot become a devotee of the Lord. One who is not a devotee of the Lord has no good qualifications whatsoever. The question remains then, how can a person engaged in abominable activities, either by accident or by intention, be a pure devotee? This question may justly be raised. The miscreants, as stated in the 7th chapter, who never come to the devotional service of the Lord, have no good qualifications, as is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Generally, a devotee who is engaged in the 9 kinds of devotional activities is engaged in the process of cleansing all material contamination from the heart. He puts the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, and all sinful contaminations are naturally washed away. Continuous thinking of the Supreme Lord makes him pure by nature. According to the Vedas, there is a certain regulation that if one falls down from his exalted position, he has to undergo certain ritualistic processes to purify himself. But here, there is no such condition because the purifying process is already there in the heart of the devotee due to his remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly. Therefore, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare should be continued without stoppage. This will protect the devotee from all accidental fall downs. He will thus remain perpetually free from all material contaminations.
Very nice. Thank you. So let's catch up, and instead of going to next 2 bars, you did up to 3. Okay. I want to just touch this. This is one of the most important verse. Even after 50 years, some of the gurus, sannyasi, they discuss this verse again and again. And this will be there for me, thousands of years, this verse discussion, at least these 2 verses. So I'm going to touch little more what I understood, and you all can share also
Hare
if you like.
Krishna.
So here it says in this what Mother Soroja Nandini read, he
Hari Bol.
quickly, yes, that he becomes quickly righteous and attain lasting peace. Then Krishna told, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. Of course, we hear this, but then it's still some lingering doubts is there in the mind. Well, previous verse, Krishna says, Opicheto sudurachara. That even if somebody does durachar, what is durachar? Achar means action, not pickle. I don't mean pickle, achar. Durachar is a bad action. But sudurachar, Krishna says, he didn't say durachar. He says sudurachar, extremely bad action. Whatever you think that it is a horrible, it is. Krishna is talking about that. Then he says, bhajate mam anannabhak. If while doing some sinful activity, if the devotee continues to worship me determinedly, that is important. What happens? Sadhureva samantavya. Such person is considered to be sadhu. And you may say, but why? Sammak bevosita hisha. Such a person's determination is well situated. So this is quite a mysterious verse. Why mysterious? Normally, when we consider someone a sadhu, he should never do durachar. Generally, we think, right? Maharaj will never do horrible things. You never think Maharaj will do some kind of like Kormi does. But it can happen. And Krishna knows that. And he's explaining this verse. This is a one verse. Krishna says that you have to call that fallen or a big misdemeanor as a sadhu. Sadhu reva. The word sadhu means good. So the idea is sadhu is a person whose behavior is very good. So normally if someone is durachari, we will say he is not sadhu. But Krishna is saying, even if someone is terribly durachari, not durachari, sudurachari, still that person is considered to be sadhu. It is described in the scriptures that mind is unsaintly. We have to remember that. Our mind is unsaintly and strong. In 6th chapter we read it. So normally we consider a person who is sudurachari is not a devotee, is not at all a sadhu. But Krishna is saying even if such person sudurachari, he should be considered a sadhu. Eva sammantibha. He should be considered sadhu. And bhajatema manandava. The key point is if a person is worshipping me undeviatingly. Undeviatingly means he does not give up his service, he does not give up his chanting, he does not give up his sadhana, daily sadhana. Now we may wonder if a person is going through difficult situation by battling with conditioning or succumb to conditioning, because of which one is doing durachar. And the question come along, how do such a person do ananya bhava bhakti? How? A person who is falling away from the path of bhakti. The person is durachari then how can that person be Ananya Bhak? How do we reconcile that? Actually, different acharyas explain it in different ways. The standard as per Sridhar Swami that I read is that Ananya Bhak refers to no other object of worship than Krishna. Oh, that Maharaj or that Prabhu, or that Mataji fell down, he went to Shiva Puja now, gave up Krishna Puja. No, then he's not a Bhakta anymore. Ananya Bhak refers no other object of worship than Krishna. That means the person may not be acting in a pure devotional service, like unbreakable devotional service. It is not that the person is practicing 24 hours devotional service, but the Ananya Bhak refers to the person, he does not deviate from the path of bhakti. I hope each of you convinced that you cannot purify your heart any other process but bhakti. And if you have to think like you have to go to a seminar to learn how to be a nice person, this, that, but not bhakti, then you are deviating. Kechit kevalaya bhakta. So many verses. Agam dunnati karsneya neharam iva bhaskara. Krishna repeated in Bhagavatam that bhakti is the only means you can completely purify. By washing the wine bottle, the smell of wine will never go away. Even if you put acid, it doesn't go away. Believe or not, when I heard that, actually I tried. Of course, I didn't drink it, but I was asking a friend that if he has a wine bottle that he's always drinking from that, and it does not go away. So what bhakti does, it softens, it melts the glass, it purifies and rebuilds another cup. Your heart will become refreshed. It never have a smell of the wine. That is the power of bhakti. Bhakti is so powerful. That means the person may not be acting in a pure devotional service, like unbreakable devotional service. It is not that the person is practicing 24 hours either, as I mentioned. But the Ananya Bhak refer to that he does not deviate from the path of bhakti, does not seem to doubt the Lord Krishna is the absolute truth, but one does not be able to maintain steady worship of absolute truth. So such a person considered a sadhu, Krishna says. That means the person stays fixed in the worship of Krishna. Other manifestation like Vishnu, Ram or other, but while staying fixed in the worship, the person may not be able to follow required standard for practice. So either way, the emphasis of this verse is that consider such a person to be sadhu. Now let us look at the implication of this. And there is a whole range of conservative, liberal and accommodating explanation on this. Recently, I read also another Sridhar Swami's commentary. This is Ananya Bhak does not go away any other deity or any other process. He doesn't give up chanting. Devotee does not think that by doing Bhakti Yoga, I fell away from my process before Bhakti Yoga. Does not work. I have to practice some other yoga. The devotee does not think like that. Devotees are supposed to be fixed. Devotee means fixed, I would say. So Jiva Goswami Pad, he said it is a rhetorical statement, hypothetical glorification to highlight a particular glory. What is that particular glory? That even such a person fall away, I'm ready. Srivas Thakur, when Mahaprabhu, I thought, did we discuss that story here? That Srivas Thakur 3 claps? that Shastra says, that Krishna says that he will maintain when you surrender. Or maybe, anyway, last few days somewhere I was giving class, I mentioned one devotee asked that what is conviction means, determination means. I said, when Mahaprabhu says, you have a family, you need to earn money, go work. He said, I'm going to just chant whole day, night. If maintenance doesn't come, 1 day, 2 days, on 3rd day, I'll put a kalashi. Kalashi means a pot. In India, they have a, I don't know in English what you call. A pot carries the water from the lake to the...
Pitcher.
Pitcher is, oh, I see. Okay, yeah, you can use that word, pitcher. So then he said, I'll put a pitcher on my neck with the rope. It's a way of suicidal process that if the water is heavy on the neck, then the body will not come on the surface. He said, I'm going to do this. Mahaprabhu then assured him. He said, no, never there will be a time that you will not have maintenance. If you depend on holy name, you really depend on holy name. Even if Lakshmi has to go for begging, your house will never be less prasadam or less wealth. Whatever you need, it will be maintained. Even if Lakshmi has to go beg. Of course, which will never happen. Lakshmi means always wealth. But Mahaprabhu's point is, that means when we have to take this word, that they are sadhu means sadhu. Krishna is considering sadhu, and Krishna will back up his opinion if some devotee in that situation. So the point is, when a devotee is trying to worship the Lord, at that time, the devotee is continuously and clearly fixed on the worship of the Lord. The devotee never falls away. But in terms of leaving the worship of Lord, means going away, Jiva Goswami says it is hypothetical glorification. Essential point is to make the point that process of devotion is so great that even if such a person commits wrong, still the person remains saintly. It is hypothetical glorification. Just like Krishna says, Naham basami vaikunte yoginam hridaye shubha. Tatra tishtami narada jatra gayanti madbhakta. You all heard that, where Krishna really, he has an address and a telephone number. So it is not that Lord really not present in Vaikuntha. He says, Naham tishtami vaikunte. I don't reside in Vaikuntha. Does it really mean Krishna is not in Vaikuntha? The Lord is not accessible in those places. He is accessible where talks are given, where glories are sung, where mantra meditation is being done, at those places. Lord, because accessible. Kumar, he met Narayan, and that is the same Krishna, and Narayan expressed that I was missing you. I'm glad you came. Now you need to come to my other form. So Krishna is not there. He's there, but he's not accessible. Now, there is a whole philosophy called, oh, I don't know, maybe I don't want to go there because that route is like a big. The next verse, because of the time sensitive. Shipram bhavati dharmatma. The next verse we just read. Quickly become dharmatma. He becomes religious, righteous. Shashat chantim nigacchati. Such a person will quickly attain peace. Then, Kunteya pratijanihi, oh Arjun, please go ahead and declare. What? Name bhakta pranashyati. My devotee will never perish. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur has talked on 3 levels on this verse. Very interesting. He says, Apicheta, mixing both verses together. He says, Apicheta sudurachara, low level, you can say, at the level of vikarma, at the level of sinful activities. Then Bhajate mam anannabhak, level 2. Level of akarma, that is transcendental. Means no material. Akarma doesn't mean lazy. A is the first syllable of alphabet. Krishna says, I am the alphabet. So akarma we consider as a Krishna karma. But sometimes akarma means no activities also. But here is applicable, means Krishna karma. Then 931, it says, Kipram bhavati dharmatma. Coming from text 931, at the level of karma, it is positive activity. It is not necessarily pure devotional service. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained, esoterically, he says that actually this verse is referring to the gopis of Vrindavan. How is that? He says, in the eyes of the world, Opicheto Sudurachara, when they left home, they left families in the middle of the dead night, and respond to the call of Krishna. At that time, what the gopis are doing. From the worldly point of view, it is Sudurachara, isn't? You leave your husband to meet another person in the middle of the night. So, very funny the way Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. From that point of view, pure devotional service, it is anannabhak, bhajate. Krishna is saying actually they are doing pure devotional service, as this act represents supremacy of their surrender. When we surrender to God, we give up bad for the sake of God. But for the sake of God, we need to give up good also. Even the good of this world should be given up. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that those who understand this truth, those who understand that the gopis are sadhus, what they have done is not bad, but it is very good. So such people who have thus understanding, they become dharmatma. Shipram bhavati dharmatma. Such people soon become dharmic. They become elevated by the practice of dharma. Now I'm going to give a 2 point that when Mataji was reading the first line of the purport Prabhupada wrote. Devotees' devotional advancement will not be perished. So there are 2 kinds of fault we see in that verse 930. One is incidental fault, another is inherent fault. Incidental fault. So 9.30 talks about incidental fault. Means through some incident, it occurred, but the devotees are not having any deficiencies inherently. Inherently, the devotee is sincere, anannabhak, but the devotee fell because some situation, whether it's a praktan sanskar, previous sanskar, or some offense or something, many reasons could be a cause of that fall down. Inherent fault, here Krishna is saying if someone is having inherent fault, even they can be elevated if they practice devotional service diligently. And you can look at 1975, October 18th, I made a little note here in Johannesburg, Prabhupada conversation. Devotee asked Prabhupada that is it possible one person to be part demon, part devotee, good quality and bad quality in the same person? Prabhupada, if he is a devotee, he is not a demon at all. If he is a devotee. But he may have some demonic qualities. Prabhupada, yes. That if he is seriously devotee, that demonic quality will disappear very soon. Then he quoted this verse, Shipram bhavati dharmatma, apichetu sudurachara bhajate mam anannabhak, sadhu eva samantarva sammak bevasita hisha. Just like electric fan is moving, you make the switch off, still you will find it is moving. But the movement will stop very soon because switch is off. Nice example Prabhupada gave. Similarly, a devotee, if it is sometimes found that he is a demoniac, that demoniac, even if he is a sincere devotee, demoniac quality will go away soon. Soon doesn't mean Prabhu or mothers tomorrow. Soon could be, like this life. Not necessarily like soon, there's no definition of soon. Krishna says, Achirenos, what is that? Srinata Saddhaya Nittam Grinantasya Sachastitam. Aleno no Tidirgana Bhagavan Vishwati Ridi. Krishna will enter in your heart if you do these three things. So I remember the conversation, I said, what does that mean? Kalena no Tidirgana, very soon. What is very soon? It says soon means it depends on your intensity. If you take it easy life, it may take few life. If you say, I want to have darshan of Krishna, this life I want to go back, then Krishna will make it this life. It's up to you. So like that. So then Prabhupada quote that verse and he says, so if one is strongly a devotee, then gradually it may take little time, all good qualities will manifest in that body of the devotee. So do not judge. Prabhupada was very kind. I appreciate Prabhupada always being so kind to us. Because even mothers and Prabhus, I myself have a lot of faults. And I'm glad the devotees are not judging me because I would be like probably in hell if those kind of. So what I'm trying to say, that Krishna focuses not on what wrong we have committed, but on where our heart is committed. Everybody understand that point? Krishna focuses not on what wrong I have committed or you have committed or anyone, but on where our heart is committed. How to understand? As we discussed, suppose we strive to practice bhakti and live purely, but fail. To be honestly, many devotees, they go through tough time. When I went through tough time, probably I still have, maybe Krishna doesn't show it. My heart is still dirty, I feel, but Krishna just some or other trying to purify, and I want to. We may feel disheartened. When I'm so impure, how can I ever come closer to Krishna? This kind of doubt will come. Should I even continue, Prabhu, practicing bhakti? Firstly, feeling bad after doing bad is good. But that bad feeling acts as an inner deterrent from wrongdoing and ensures that we don't become nonchalant about repeated wrongdoing. Simultaneously, however, when we are knocked down, if that bad feeling starts beating me down repeatedly, we may become totally disheartened. We may give up trying to live purely. To avoid such debilitating discouragement, Krishna is revealing this verse. I'm so glad, I'm really thankful to Krishna that he's giving this verse, Opicheta Sudurachara. Otherwise, I would probably doubt every minute in my life that I'm not a devotee, I'll never become a devotee. This is such a assuring, this verse gives a big hope. Krishna is revealing, the Bhagavad Gita is revealed that Krishna is a considerate God. He understands that our past conditioning aren't always easy to overcome, Prabhus and mothers. See that. Krishna does not fixate on phase when those conditioning overpower us. He also sees what we do after those phases subside. If we don't reject pure living as impractical, if we don't dismiss bhakti as important, if we resume our bhakti practices, he appreciates that resilience. I remember even in Bible, I read once, the difference between devil and saint. The both may fall down, but one who get up and keep going is a saint. Even Bible says similar thing, but in a more elaborate Krishna is giving us. We are very fortunate that Krishna is, maybe, most of the devotees are very pure. You all are very pure. But I look at my own life, I would not be even a devotee or servant of devotee if Krishna did not give these verses to back up. No, keep going. Get up and keep going. Krishna considers us well situated if we stay determined to serve him, even after succumbing to wrongdoing. By steady daily sadhana practice, we will soon become purified. And Krishna proclaims, we won't perish. I love that. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma. Draupadi said this in that crisis. Govinda pratiggatavo name bhakta pranashyati. Hey Govinda, you promised me. Right in this assembly, what is happening? You promised your bhakta will never be perishable. Krishna instantly acted on it. It is so wonderful because this world will knock us down, try to put us down. Of course, if we become nonchalant about our lapses and don't even try to purify ourselves, then that shows our heart is not committed to Krishna. And he stops intervening personally in our life. We come under the stringent laws of karma. But if our heart is committed to Krishna, as shown by this resilience in practicing bhakti, then Krishna gives us hope and strength to persevere in our daily sadhana. When we focus not on our conditioning, but on Krishna's unconditional love. This is very important. Please remember this. When we focus not our conditioning, but on our beloved Krishna's unconditional love, we can slowly but surely overcome our conditionings. As Sanjeev Prabhu mentioned, very significant. This not only in he may know someone who happened this, it's also happened in America, lot. And that's how the purification takes place, not to be surprised. I'm not saying this should keep on happening, but this is expected in the material world. If somebody is abused, they feel like Krishna did not answer their prayers for protection. Then question comes, how can we help them develop faith now? Whenever we want to develop faith in Krishna or question his existence, we need to understand that Krishna and how Krishna works. Krishna created this system in this world. For who? For us, for our protection and sustenance. And usually Krishna offers his care and attention to us through those systems. I mean, it is heartbreaking to hear when someone being abused or neglected, ignored badly. Yes, such abuse can leave permanent emotional scars on them. At the same time, we all need to recognize that Krishna has given everyone free will. But unfortunately, people can misuse their free will. Humans misuse their free will. Humans also create system to protect others. protect themselves. For example, if thugs beat up someone on the street, then it is for other people to stop the thugs. I mean, in America, we see that. Or the person being victimized needs to run or call for emergency 911 or do what is required to protect himself. Of course, you can say, well, that person did not have very intelligent or high intelligence or strength to protect himself or herself. But there are senior devotees. Not one, maybe you fail with one, then keep going to others. Because they are meant to be very available and protective. And it is important that we be alert and trained by the seniors. Of course, unfortunately, we live in a society where perverted individuals or those who are psychopaths, sociopaths, prey upon the weak and helpless. People in a close family or extended family whom we would normally trust turn out to be the ones who betray our trust, commit horrendous abuses. What should we do? Therefore, believe in Krishna. Or the expectation from Krishna that he should act as a replacement for the breakdown of human system of protection and rectification is an unrealistic expectation. When things go wrong at human level, then things need to be rectified at human levels. When something happened to us, we should pray. Also, we should go to doctor, like senior devotees, or I don't know, whatever it is required. Not just pray is enough. If I got my finger cut, should I start praying or take also Band-Aid or some precaution? Ask yourself. Mother Yashoda, when she felt the Krishna is so heavy on her lap, what did she do? She's talking to Krishna, praying to Narayan, call the Brahmanas to do the Jagna. Did she just depend on Narayan and nothing else? No. This is how Brajavasis are. This is what surrender means. Surrender doesn't mean you only depend on Krishna and you don't do anything. Krishna says, Purusho Nishu, 7th chapter, what is that, 8th verse. Rasam Apsa Kunte Pravasmisha Shishujya Pranava Sarva Vedeshu Sabdakshe Purusho Nishu. We have ability. Krishna is the ability within us. So we need to do all the way. We depend on Krishna, we pray. Also, we go to senior devotees. If somebody got hurt or something happened, I don't know, each individual case is different. But we need to do everything. Mother Yashoda does this. She engages the Brahmanas to do purification for Krishna. She also prays to Narayan, and she also personally engages the Manjaris to take care of Krishna with her. All three she does. We need to also learn how to do that. Not like, oh, I got hurt by the temple president, like one Mataji said. She didn't even smile. She didn't even care for me. I don't feel like to go to temple. I said, do you come to temple for her? I hope not. He said, what do you mean? She's the president. I said, doesn't matter. You come here to serve the Lord. You not come here to get attention. Haribol, did you see me? I'm such a famous singer and I came to temple. Nobody even ask me to sing. I don't feel like to come to temple. Excuse me, where are you coming from? I thought you coming to temple to glorify Krishna, serve the devotees, or you want your attention. So we have to look from, I'm not trying to criticize, I'm trying to point out because I ask my own mind. All this problem, if we can, first and foremost, if we can withdraw my attention, instead I put Krishna and Guru and Sadhu's attention, 99% problem solved. At least in my life. Most of my problem came because I want to give attention to me. Did everybody loves me? That Mataji loves me. That Prabhu loves me. This president cares for me. Do they ask me I am a good leader? I am a good singer. I am a good speaker. These are self-motivation. This is not Krishna consciousness. Swarup arthe to hinan, nija sukho paran. Swarup arthe to hinan, nija sukho paran. Harer ma danda maya gunan, nija kalayati. The whole coming down to the material world, Swarup arthe to hinan. We fell from our own self-constitutional position. Misuse of free will. What happened? I'm giving attention to myself. I'm not saying you all do, but I examine my heart. It was the biggest problem because I was giving attention to my need, myself more than anybody else. And this will remain a problem until we give attention Krishna as in the center. Krishna means Krishna's devotee also. So I will end with this. Most importantly, rather than seeing Krishna as the preventer of suffering or protector from suffering, we can also see him as a healer amidst sufferings. This happened to my life. I'm sure it happened to your life. Some sufferings are unavoidable. And analysis, their specific causes can help us prevent their repetition. Well, why did this person act like this? Why Krishna did not intervene? We ask this question. Such questions are simply expressway to frustration. Rather than tormenting ourselves with such questions which have no answer, we can see Krishna as a healer and change the inner question from why to how. For example, how can we move forward now? Whatever happened in my life. Can I forward move? I want to go progress in spiritual path. How? Instead of why did it happen? Why president didn't protect? Why that Prabhu didn't protect? Whatever. How can I do something positive now? If we see Krishna as a healer, then we find there is a tremendous healing available for us in whatever situation we may find ourselves in. So connecting with Krishna through prayers, through meditation, through spiritual wisdom can help us gain inner calmness, clarity, by which we can make the best of whatever situation we may face in the past. Because Krishna is a physician. Of course, in Vrindavan, Krishna has his own pastime, you all know, I'm sure. Just to prove Radharani is the chaste lady. And you all know that story. So Krishna is actually best physician. And guess what? He wants to help us heal. But if we are obstinate to know why a particular disease infected us, the approach becomes difficult. Can you relate to this, what I'm trying to say? Why this COVID-19 attacked me? I cannot put together. Where this COVID-19 come? Sorry, Matajis and Prabhus. I don't know if we'll ever find the real cause where this COVID-19 came and how it affected in my body. Instead, we should focus on Krishna, who is the best physician, and take his help. Take prescribed medicine, then we will be healed. So we must turn ourselves to Krishna. Whatever may be our past, we can move forward and grow and ultimately be healed. So I'll end this here. What we discussed so far, that an intellectual level, we may think we can do redirection ourselves, but the intellectual level is often not enough to counter emotional power. However, if we have a spiritual power, then it becomes easier. And this becomes by, how do you get the spiritual power? By connecting with supreme spiritual power, Krishna. And we find that Krishna's love, Krishna's grace, His mercy still available for us to create a better life for our own self. And I hope, Sanjeev Prabhu, you can summarize to your friend and try to help him also. You sound very compassionate devotee. Try to help. At the same time, I'm sorry I could not finish the rest of the, how many sloka we did? Who did the last one? Mother Sorojanandi? No, Mother Kirti. We read up to 32, yes? No, 31. No, we did 31. (32, 33, and 34). So let me ask the audience, should we do it tomorrow or you want to finish just reading?
You can do it.
I could not hear. Somebody said something.
You can do it tomorrow.
Okay.
They
Is
are,
everybody
they are,
okay with
they
it?
are, yes, so they are very nice verses, so it's better to do it slowly and nicely, like we did 3 verses today. They were so nice and so nectarian. So that way it will be much better.
Thank you. Thank you. You're merciful to me. Any reflection or we can close? Sorry, I talked too much today. I wanted to hear.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat pronunciation.
Dandavat Mata.
It was really, really a very nectarian class, Prabhu. Every day it is so good. So today also it is so nice, and I share my realization that the point that how Krishna is very merciful, that Krishna doesn't see what mistakes we committed, but he sees where our heart is committed. So we can try our heart to focus on Krishna rather than anything else.
Very nice key point. Thank you, Mata.
Thank you.
Nirguna Prabhu, give me some feedback.
I have negative feedback only.
Give me some negative.
You said that the verses are depressing. You said about the verse that it's depressing. How can you say about a verse of Bhagavad Gita that it's depressing?
When somebody get hurt and they hear this verse, they may not agree in the beginning. But I did not complete the sentence there. I went further. I said, it may appear depressing. It's true. But then when we focus, we have to help those persons who got hurt. If they focus Krishna as a healer, then they will say, okay, there is a hope for me. And they will actually examine their own heart. So from that angle, Once in the beginning may be depressing, at the end is joyful.
Yes. No, I have also. I don't have negative really feedback. It was just a joke. I was just wondering about this.
No, I know, but I like that joke. You made me happy.
I want to ask you: are you a disciple? How come you said when you joined you got the service of pushing the sister of Prabhupada?
Yes.
When did you join? Did you?
In 78, I used to carry. There was a chair, not a palanquin. It's a chair with a how do you say, little round handle, and you put a 2-pole, and we would carry from Long Building to the Lotus Building, 3rd floor, where Prabhupada's room is. In the evening, Arati time.
So you look younger than what you are, I guess.
That's difference. I put a facial before I come to the class. Now I'm old. In the Sannyas candidate list, you can see my biography there. Is there.
I didn't know. There is in the internet we can look.
Yes.
I read that, Prabhu, a few days ago.
What?
I was saying, like, I read that. I went through your biography, Prabhu, a few days ago. It's really inspiring.
Thank you, Mother. You please bless me. Okay, let's not talk about me.
Prabhuji,
No,
are
but
you?
it's interesting. Sometimes it's interesting to know the teacher a little bit.
Yes. Prabhuji, are you?
You can ask me. I am a rascal number 2, not 1, because that will be pride, false pride. But I'm rascal number 2.
Prabhuji, are you? Is your Guruji Guru Maharaj Prabhupada? Are you disciple of?
No, I saw Prabhupada one time.
Oh, lucky.
Yes. Well, lucky or unlucky, you can still see his murti. I don't see any difference. I was a little kid, so I was not talking to him, but I saw him face to face with my father. So.
Your father is a devotee?
My mother was a great devotee. My father was, I mean, yes, and he was a politician more or less. I mean, he was a devotee. I don't know what to say. Sorry. Of course, at the soul level, they're all devotee. But externally, he would not display. He was a congressman, Mahatma Gandhi's party he joined. He was the youngest man. Okay, is there any reflection, question, comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Ram Shyam Prabhu.
Yeah, reflection, Prabhuji, like in the verse 30th. So Ananya Bhakka. So that's the very like I learned something from that. That you quoted kind of no other object of worship than Krishna, and bhakti is the only mean for the completely purifying the heart of anybody. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the first verse he gave that Chetodarpan Marjanam. So that personally for me, its a heart is completely contaminated only by doing the devotional service that can purify. No other means. So
very good.
That's the takeaway. And
Thank
second
you,
also,
thank you.
Prabhu, yeah, second also I wanted to tell, as you told, in consequence of this only, like you quoted Prabhupada Maharaj several places quoted, Naham Tishtanti Vaikunthe. So means where he is sitting. So he's sitting. Krishna is sitting in our heart. So as we do any endeavor, so he reciprocate accordingly. So that and so much of things you discussed about the partial and he's not partial. So it's a really full of nectar project, totally immersed in this, like it doesn't seem like we are going through the Bhagavad Gita session, but it's like it's kind of like we are totally immersed in this session. So it's not like of a study, it's kind of total spiritual, like whatever you can say. I don't have word for that. Thank you so much for wonderful, way of teaching of this Bhakti Shastri, Bhagavad Gita, and really wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. You please bless me.
Sure. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
I'd say I agree, and you're really digging our heart to bring the love of Krishna.
I don't want to hear about what I just want to hear the reflection. I know who I am actually. Even I'm scared of my heart. It's dirty, too much dirty. That's why I'm begging everybody to pray and bless me. Koivalla Prabhu, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, Prabhu, I want to say that we feel like we are just taking a shower of the nectar and devotional nectars by your preaching. So that's very nice, Srila. I'm so happy.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else that never spoke before? Ramacharan Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhu, thank you very much for the nice class. One thing I like learn it today, very nicely you actually described the Jewish culture, like you took the good point from there and you integrated with the Vaishnava culture. I think as a preacher, even a devotee, we should appreciate others' culture and we should bring it in harmony with our Vaishnava culture. That will change a lot of people's heart, because I have heard Prabhupada actually change the heart of the people, not really change the people, but they change the heart of the people by his mercy, by his by accepting them, by giving them so much of the Krishna mercy. So that's a very good point. I like it, how we can harmonize everyone and bring it to under the one under the one umbrella of this Krishna consciousness. That's the point I take today, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you loved that. Yes. I studied sometime others just to see, and I appreciate more Krishna consciousness. I'm not promoting that you should go and study, but if you have a grasp this Krishna consciousness well, then you can compare and see that how merciful Krishna is. Actually, even if somebody is going away from spiritual path, still Krishna is taking care of that person. He doesn't force that person to come back. He allows that person to go on his way, and eventually he will turn around and Krishna is right there. It's wonderful how Prabhupada says in 3rd Canto, 20th chapter in Bhagavatam, that the purpose of creating hell, it really woke me up. I say, wow, there's a purpose of creating hell for 2 reasons. Prabhupada gives in the purport. It convinced me so much, even the atheist here, because everybody in America familiar with hell, whether it's a Christian, Jew, or anyone. I say, the purpose of creating hell is for 2 reasons. One reason is that Krishna never forces you to come back to him by his demand. He travels with you, give whatever you want, and he's waiting for you to turn on your own time towards him. And Prabhupada gave a very nice example. A minister, he wanted to enjoy any woman he sees. He didn't mention any name. So he has to go to a life, as a human he cannot do. He has to go to a life where he can exercise that, because that was his desire, strong desire. He's a big minister. Obviously, Prabhupada probably had experienced some minister in India or somewhere. Then he goes, after he dies, he goes to a place where he is starving to death. He get a jantrana deha, as I mentioned yesterday, covering on the subtle body, that where after hard struggle, they throw little stool. And he remembers as a minister how cake was delicious or gulab jamun was delicious, not the stool. But why Krishna created this? So that he can take a hog body and experience because hog is the only animal has intimacy with mother, daughter, and no discrimination. That's why it is a one kind animal. Even the Muslim, even the Jewish, they don't eat. It's the lowest consciousness, hog food, hog flesh. But to get the hog body is not easy. So he has to struggle in that room for days and months. He will not die. Krishna created this. At one point, they throw some stool and they say, oh, horrible smell, because he came, previous life, he was a human minister. And after some time, he's desperate to eat anything, even rock. Then he picked the stool little bit and he cannot, then he closed his nose and put it in the tongue. You know, after starving 7 days, I hope you never have to do that. When something goes in the mouth, like, oh, wow, what a relief. And then he start eating the stool. And after a little while, he thinks it's not bad. And that's it. That soul from that place called hell come to Alachua pig farm. Wow, new piglet just born. Well, he was a minister last life. Now he is going to enjoy all the female pig. There is no mother, daughter, sister, all are same. Is Krishna merciful or he is punishing? Merciful. He does not forces us. He allows us to exercise our free will, whatever we want. So this is a one reason. Then there is another reason, another day I will discuss, because it's a long. And this is very sweet, that how Krishna actually pulling us in our own time, not his time. Thank you for tolerating me and listen. Any other feedback or we can close? Mother Mehendi, are you okay? Your guest is here.
It was my mom, Prabhu. She was outside. She's back home.
Okay, good.
I have another corrective feedback, even though I should give you all good feedbacks because
No,
you
good.
give nice.
Just hold on 1 second. Nirguna Prabhu, I'll be back to you. Yes,
sorry.
Mother Mehendi. What did you take today's session?
I think it just hit me really hard that sometimes we look everywhere for comfort and just to heal ourselves, but all that we have to do is to look within, look to Krishna. Because I've written it in capitals saying Krishna is the healer. I really love on how you give that to us, and how we just have to redirect ourselves to Krishna. That's all we have to do in this material world. So that came so strong for me. Thank you so much.
Very good, very good.
But the
Thank you.
miracles are there. Krishna is the miracle. You just have to catch hold of him and love him, and that's all that we have to do.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Once again, Nirguna Prabhu, I want to ask Sanjeev Prabhu. He asked the question. Sanjeev Prabhu, are you there or he left?
Should I say?
Yes, Nirguna Prabhu, go ahead.
I think when we speak about this pandemic, this is my guru told me, because he's I trust him, because also, of course, everybody trusts the guru and he's Minister of Health in ISKCON. But he gave us a nice class, and I recommend all the devotees who want to hear about this, that he explained that we should take it like not really as not necessarily speak about it as what the media says it is, like that we say that we can catch it, and explain that the same amount of people die every year, and they just put a tag on all the people who died. So I just, because you mentioned the COVID, so I just wanted to say.
What happened? I'm sorry, I could not catch. He has a record how many people died, or?
Yeah, that actually what the media say about it, it's not what it is, because there is 0.07 people die every year from disease, and it remained the same also in the year 2020. 0.07 people died from disease, at the same as people died in 2019, 2018, 2017. So it's like it just they gave a different name, combine all the death together, and actually he said it, so I can say that he said that we shouldn't think about it like what the media tried to present it.
That's true. No, I agree with you. My point was that it caused us emotionally depressed, worry. People are dying, same, I agree with you. But COVID-19, it actually tormented many hearts, many people's culture, belief. People really like got hurt. I mean, every day with the accident, people are dying, but it's not happening in front of my eyes, so I'm not getting affected. But I know people are dying out of accident, what they say, every 7 seconds or something, somewhere in the world, car accident, somebody's dying. That's true, I'm not denying, but if it happens in front of me every 7, somebody dies every 7 seconds, I'll be tormented, believe me. Like, wow, I'll be like crying probably. So I agree with you. Thank you. Thank you. That's a very nice point. Okay, so we close, or you have anyone?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Who is this?
Archana Bhakti. Prabhuji.
Oh yes, Archana Bhakti Mother.
Prabhuji, you compared Krishna to a desire tree, and there are 2 points on that. One is that you gave the example of the people, who decide to rest, and some people don't, they just go on. So it's not the fault of the tree that somebody actually takes benefit or not. So similarly, we have to actually watch what our desires are when we come to Krishna. We have to watch our mind, because Krishna only fulfills what is in our mind. So we have to watch our mind. And the other point related to Krishna being a desire tree, he's more than just a desire tree fulfilling desires. He's also fulfilling the relationship. So, when someone takes shelter of Krishna as a devotee, then he makes the enemy of the devotee his own enemy, like that. So he can, like Pandavas, right? Anyone who was hurting the Pandavas, Krishna would actually, in order to protect the Pandavas, he would take the side of the Pandavas and consider the other party against him. Yeah.
Very nice point. Thank you. Thank you, Mata. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mother.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mother.
As usual, today's class was also very nectarian. Thank you for wonderful class. And there are so many points for me to take home, but I want to share one which I felt more, because I felt for me it is very essential that feeling bad after doing bad is not good. It's good because it encourages us not to do same mistake in future again. So this is my realization from today's class. Hare Krishna.
It's from my own experience. Thank you for telling. It's very true. Very true. Thank you. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we close. Please accept my humble obeisances to all of you, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'm sorry we could not finish the 9th chapter today, but as Kaibala Prabhu encouraged me that we'll continue tomorrow. And then we have 3 days to finish chapter 10. Hopefully we'll wrap it up by the mystical mercy of Krishna and all of you, Vaishnava and Vaishnava. Vancha kalpa taruvasya Padidanam pavanebhyo Nantagori Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Pramanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you so much.